I want to discuss what time of the day is the best for strength training. There's 2 or 3 times during the day that I feel are very optimal. They all have their different reasonings for why they're positive and in whatever you're trying to accomplish. But I'll kind of go over the science, but a lot of it is preference too. If you're kind of more accustomed to lifting at a certain time, you don't want to stray away from whatever your regimen is. But it is also good to push yourself and then try new things. But I'll just give you kind of the science. When you wake up in the morning, your testosterone is at its highest naturally. So I'm not talking about like if you take PEDs, whatever like that. I'm saying you just waking up in the morning, your testosterone, whatever it is going to be at the highest when you wake up. As the day goes on, it's going to decline. And that's for females too, because females have testosterone too, but it's just not as much. So when you wake up in the morning, you're at a higher testosterone. So it is sometimes good to go and do strength training then. But the detriment behind that is that you're not getting the meals that you need to fuel your muscles to maximize that power. Your brain functions at a higher engagement when you're in the morning. So once it's stimulated and once you wake up and get out of that little fog that you have in the early mornings, your brain will actually work at a higher rate, engaging more parts of the brain, and it's more cognitive in the morning. So you're thinking better. And obviously, as the day goes on, as you start getting more tired, that leads to a declining. So that actually, when you do start the morning like that and you stimulate your brain, it actually causes for you to have more brain function throughout the day. It will still decline slightly, but it's going to be higher than if you were to not work out in the morning. When you work out in the evening, the benefits of that is that you have meals under your belt. So you're fueling your muscles with glycogen all day. You're making sure that they're maximized in how much fuel they're containing so that you can produce as much power as possible once it's time to actually, test that. When I was really strength training hard and I was doing a lot of competitions and I was getting paid to do all that stuff, I was working out in the mid part of the day. It's because I could get enough rest during the night, like 7 to 8 hours minimum, and then when I wake up, I'd get at least 2 to 3 meals in, and then I'd go train at 12. So I'd wake up like 7 or 8, and then I would be, putting in solid meals until then, and then I'd feel great during lifting. That's when I had, all the time in the world, and I had no responsibilities or whatever. But obviously now I work out super early in the morning, and I felt like the amazing benefits of that. My higher brain function. I always feel like my testosterone is highest in the morning. When I work out in the evening, I do feel strong. I might be lacking a little bit of energy, but I feel stronger than when I would in the morning. So when I'm in the morning, I'm not maybe so much focused on the strength training or really pushing my limits in terms of like how much weight I'm doing for like 1 to 3 reps, power or strength sets. But I am, lifting somewhat heavy, but just not in a way that I would if I was in the evening or midday. So the good thing about lifting in the morning though is that you're maximizing the time to recover now. So if you lift at 6, 7, 8 in the morning, now I have 12 to 14 hours of solid eating or resting or protocol for my resting so that I can recover for the next day. You might not get that same time if you work out in the midday or evening. When I'm done with the evening, usually I'm going home and eating 1 meal, maybe 2 meals max. If I'm lifting super late, maybe like a meal and a snack, and then I'm hitting the bed. So that sleeping is rest too, but fuel to the body is going to make sure that we optimize that rest and turnover. So if I'm taking in 3 to 4 meals after I'm done lifting, that's going to maximize my recovery. Midday is probably perfect, but most of people have jobs, they have responsibilities, so it's hard to lift during that time. But that's usually more optimal because I'm getting a solid 2 to 3 meals before my lifting, and then I'm getting 2 to 3 solid meals after my lifting. Maybe I get done at 2 or 3 o'clock, but then the rest of the day is dedicated to recovering and then eating, and then so I can redo that the next day. Now I've maximized that 24-hour window of working out to eating and then resting. So the 3 times that I think that are optimal, if they're pretty normal times, morning time, and because the testosterone is highest, brain function is high, and it'll cause you to have more brain function during the day. Midday, because you could have meals before you're lifting and then meals after you're lifting, maximizing that whole 24-hour window of recovery and working out. And then if we're looking at strength training for that day, like having huge numbers for that day, I'll work out later on in the day, in the evening time, put 4 to 5 meals in my stomach and my body before I go and hit those heavy sets whether it be, usually it's for deadlifts or squats, because I want to make sure that I'm like optimizing that absorption for all the glycogen and the carbohydrates and the fats and the proteins that I'm putting in my body. So hopefully this helps. I know I'm not giving you a specific time, but I just want to make sure I give a blanket answer. So if you're not able to work out in the morning, midday, or evening, that you can, construct it in a way that's more beneficial to you, just from the things that I'm just telling you. All three of them have their benefits, but one may have more than the other. But I hope that this information helps you guys.